They might not host the Champions League, but these stadiums are far from second tier. From modern gems in rising football nations to historic arenas with unreal atmosphere, the 2025/26 Europa League stadiums are packed with surprises. We're going inside the venues where dark horses rise, giants fall, and European nights feel just as electric. The Europa League has always been football's great equalizer, where sleeping giants wake up and underdogs become household names. This season, we're not just talking about teams competing for continental glory, we're diving deep into the theaters where these dreams will either soar or shatter. From England's Villa Park, where Aston Villa are making their return to European nights after years in the wilderness, to Norway's Brand Stadium, where Bergen's faithful are about to experience something truly special for the first time in decades. Let's start our journey in England, where two very different stories are unfolding. Villa Park in Birmingham has been transformed since Aston Villa's return to European prominence. This legendary venue, with its capacity of 42,640, has seen everything from European Cup glory in 1982 to the recent Champions League nights that reminded everyone why this club belongs among Europe's elite. The famous Holta End creates an atmosphere that visiting teams genuinely fear, and with Villa back in Europa League action, those Thursday nights are going to be electric once again. Just down the M42, Nottingham Forest are preparing the city ground for European football's return. It's been decades since Forest graced continental competition, but this stadium on the banks of the River Trent has a European pedigree that few can match. The 30,000 capacity ground witnessed some of Brian Clough's greatest nights, and while the current Forest squad might not have legends like John Robertson or Trevor Francis, the ghost of those glory days will be watching from every corner of this historic venue. Moving across the channel, France brings three distinctly different footballing cultures to this competition. Lille's Stade Pierre-Mauroy is a marvel of modern engineering, with its sliding roof that can open in just 15 minutes and a capacity of 51,186. This isn't just a football stadium, it's a symbol of northern France's industrial renaissance, and Lille's European nights here have become the stuff of legend. The atmosphere when those northern French supporters get going is absolutely spine-tingling. Lions Parc Olympique Lyonnais tells a different story entirely. This ultra-modern arena, opened in 2016, represents everything that's changed about French football in the last decade. With 59,186 seats, it's not just about capacity, it's about creating an experience that goes beyond the 90 minutes. The stadium's LED lighting system can transform the entire exterior in team colors, creating a visual spectacle that UEFA competitions were made for. Nice's Allianz Riviera might be the most beautiful setting in the entire competition. Nestled on the French Riviera with 35,294 seats, this stadium offers views that visiting players sometimes struggle to concentrate on the game. The architectural design, inspired by the Mediterranean landscape, makes every match feel like a premium experience rather than just a football game. Spain's representatives bring their own unique flavors to the competition. Real Betis at the Benito Villamarín is where Seville's working-class football culture comes alive. This 60,000 capacity stadium has recently undergone major renovations, but it's retained that raw, passionate atmosphere that makes Spanish football so compelling. When Betis supporters start their chants, the entire stadium becomes a green and white cauldron that visiting teams find absolutely suffocating. Celta Vigo's Balaidos offers something completely different. This 29,000 capacity ground in Galicia represents Spain's Celtic heritage, and the atmosphere here is unlike anywhere else in European football. The recent modernization has improved facilities while keeping that intimate, intimidating feel that has made this one of La Liga's most feared away days. Germany's contributions to this competition showcase the country's legendary stadium culture. Stuttgart's Mercedes-Benz Arena has been completely transformed since hosting World Cup matches in 2006. The 60,000 capacity venue now features some of the most advanced technology in European football, but it's the famous Südkurve that creates the real magic. When Stuttgart supporters unfurl those massive banners and start their orchestrated chants, visiting teams know they're in for a proper test. Freiburg's Europa Park Stadion might be the smallest venue in the German contingent at 34,700, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in pure intensity. This is one of the most modern stadiums in Germany, opened just 2 years ago, and it represents everything progressive about German football culture. The sustainable design and fan-focused facilities show how modern stadiums can enhance rather than diminish the matchday experience. Stick around until the end to see which stadium has the most unique feature in all of European football. Plus, I'll reveal the ground where visiting teams have the worst record in UEFA competitions over the last decade. Italy's representatives bring centuries of footballing tradition to this competition. Roma's Stadio Olimpico is where legends are born and dreams come true. This 68,000 capacity coliseum has witnessed World Cup finals, European championships, and countless nights of continental drama. When Roma supporters create that wall of sound that echoes around the curved stands, visiting teams understand why this is called the Eternal City. Bologna's Stadio Renato Dall'Ara tells a different story. This 36,462 capacity ground represents Italian football's grassroots passion. The recent renovations have modernized facilities while preserving the intimate atmosphere that makes every Bologna match feel like a neighborhood gathering where everyone knows everyone. The Netherlands brings 3 fascinating venues to this competition, each representing different aspects of Dutch football culture. Feyenoord's De Kuip in Rotterdam is simply legendary. This 47,500 capacity stadium has an atmosphere that visiting teams describe as physically overwhelming. The single-tier stands create a wall of sound that has been intimidating opponents since 1937. And those European nights when Feyenoord supporters sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" are experiences that players remember for their entire careers. Utrecht's Stadion Galgenwaard might be smaller at 23,750 capacity, but it represents everything authentic about Dutch football. This is where local communities come together, where generations of families have shared the same seats, where every goal celebration feels personal. Go Ahead Eagles at the De Adelaarshorst in Deventer bring something completely unique to European competition. With a capacity of just 9,949, this is the smallest venue in the entire Europa League. But sometimes, the smallest spaces create the biggest atmospheres. When this tiny ground fills with supporters, the noise levels become absolutely incredible. Portugal's representatives showcase why this nation consistently produces world-class footballing talent. Porto's Estádio do Dragão is a fortress that has hosted Champions League finals and witnessed some of the greatest nights in Portuguese football history. The 50,033 capacity venue creates an atmosphere that has proven too much for even the biggest European clubs to handle. Braga's Estádio Municipal is carved into a quarry hillside, making it one of the most unique venues in world football. With 30,286 seats, this stadium offers views that are literally carved from the Portuguese landscape, creating a setting that feels more like a natural amphitheater than a traditional football ground. Scotland's Old Firm brings their legendary rivalry to European competition once again. Celtic Park's 60,811 capacity creates an atmosphere that visiting teams describe as genuinely intimidating. When Celtic supporters sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" before European matches, the sound carries across Glasgow and reminds everyone why this is called paradise. Rangers' Ibrox Stadium tells the other half of Glasgow's footballing story. With 50,817 seats, this venue has witnessed some of the greatest nights in Scottish football history. The famous Blue Sea of supporters creates a visual and auditory spectacle that European opposition struggles to cope with. Turkey's contribution comes through Fenerbahce at the Shukru Saracoğlu Stadium in Istanbul. This 50,530 capacity venue is where European football meets Turkish passion, creating an atmosphere that visiting teams find genuinely overwhelming. The recent renovations have modernized facilities while preserving that intimidating atmosphere that has made this one of Europe's most feared-away destinations. Austria's dual representation showcases the country's footballing renaissance. Salzburg's Red Bull Arena is a masterpiece of modern stadium design. The 31,200 capacity venue features technology and facilities that set standards across European football, but it's the atmosphere created by those passionate Austrian supporters that makes European nights here truly special. Sturm Graz's Merkur Arena might be smaller at 15,400, but the intimacy creates an intensity that visiting teams find genuinely difficult to handle. When those black and white supporters create that wall of sound, this small Austrian ground becomes one of Europe's most challenging venues. The Nordic countries bring their own special atmosphere to European competition. Malmö's Elida Stadion represents Swedish football's European ambitions. The 24,000 capacity venue creates an atmosphere that showcases why Scandinavian football culture is so respected across the continent. Michelin's MCH Arena in Denmark might have a capacity of just 11,800. But when those Danish supporters get behind their team, the noise levels become absolutely incredible. This is where community football meets European ambition, creating something genuinely special. Here's that special fact I promised. Go ahead. Eagles de Adelaarshorst isn't just the smallest stadium in this competition, it's also the only venue where visiting teams have to walk through a public park to reach the away end. Meanwhile, the stadium with the worst visiting team record belongs to Crvena Zvezda's Maracana, where away teams have won just 18% of European matches over the last decade. If you made it to the end of the video, share your thoughts on these incredible stadiums in the comments. Which one is your favorite? If you enjoyed the video, click here to explore all UEFA Champions League stadiums 2025/26. See you there in a second.